What if the boldest science fiction shows of the 1980s did not fail because they were bad, but because they arrived too early? Before streaming, before binge-watching, before audiences were trained to think big, television quietly erased ideas that were years ahead of their time. Somewhere between neon dreams and analog limits, entire worlds vanished. Stay with me, because one of these forgotten shows predicted the future so clearly, it almost feels uncomfortable to watch now. Number 15. Voyagers, 1982 to 1983. Imagine learning history not from textbooks, but by racing through it while trying to keep reality from breaking. That was the quiet genius of Voyagers, a family-friendly science fiction series that turned time travel into an adventure with a purpose. John Eric Hexam starred as Phineas Bogg, a member of a secret group tasked with fixing mistakes in history before they spiral out of control. When his device malfunctions, he teams up with a modern-day kid named Jeffrey, and suddenly, history class becomes a chase. Each episode dropped viewers into real moments from the past, from famous leaders to overlooked turning points, all presented as living, breathing situations. The show never talked down to its audience. Instead, it trusted viewers to follow complex ideas about cause and effect, choice, and responsibility. History was not frozen, it was fragile. What made Voyagers special was its tone. It balanced humor, danger, and heart without ever losing momentum. Phineas was confident, but flawed. Jeffrey was curious, but scared. Together, they made mistakes, learned fast, and kept moving. Despite solid ratings and strong word of mouth, the show was canceled after one season due to cost and scheduling issues. That decision quietly erased a series that proved learning could be exciting. Today, with audiences craving smart storytelling again, Voyagers feels less dated than ever. It was not just entertainment, it was curiosity, with a countdown. Number 14. Starman, 1986 to 1987. Some science fiction shouts. Starman chose to speak softly. Based on the earlier film, this television series focused less on spectacle and more on connection. Robert Hayes played an alien visitor who returns to Earth years later, searching for the son he left behind. What follows is not a chase-driven story, but a quiet journey across America, built on trust, misunderstanding, and growth. Each episode placed Starman and his teenage son into everyday situations, small towns, struggling families, people at crossroads. Instead of fixing problems with power, Starman listened, he learned, he adapted. The science fiction element was always present, but it never overshadowed the emotional core. That approach confused network executives. Viewers expected action. What they got was empathy. Critics praised the show's warmth and intelligence, but ratings never stabilized. After one season, it was gone. What makes Starman powerful today is how rare its tone feels. It asks viewers to slow down and consider what makes someone human, not strength, not intelligence, but kindness, patience, and curiosity. In a genre often obsessed with scale, Starman proved that science fiction could succeed by shrinking the lens. Its cancellation was quiet, but its message still resonates. Sometimes the most advanced idea is simply understanding each other. Number 13. Starcade, 1982 to 1984. Before gaming became an industry, before live streams and packed arenas, there was Starcade. On the surface, it looked like a simple game show. Contestants played arcade games, winners took machines home. But beneath the flashing lights was something much bigger. Starcade was documenting the birth of a cultural shift in real time. Each episode captured players standing in front of towering cabinets, battling pixelated challenges that now define an entire generation. These were not professional players. They were kids, teens, and adults discovering a new form of competition without realizing they were pioneers. The show struggled technically. Cameras had trouble capturing screens. Audio lagged. Visuals blurred. But none of that mattered. What mattered was energy. Starcade treated gaming as skill, not novelty. It gave it a stage. Network executives never fully understood what they had. The show bounced between formats and schedules before quietly disappearing. Critics dismissed it as a fad. Looking back now, Starcade feels almost prophetic. It recognized gaming as social, competitive, and watchable long before the rest of television caught up. In a world where people watch others play for a living, Starcade stands as proof that the future was already loading. Television just failed to save the file. Number 12. The Phoenix, 1982. The Phoenix was science fiction that dared to ask uncomfortable questions. What if humanity's greatest potential had already been unlocked once before? Judson Scott starred as Bennu, an ancient being awakened in modern times after thousands of years. His mission was unclear, his abilities were extraordinary, his curiosity about humanity was genuine. Rather than focusing on action, the series leaned into philosophy. Bennu did not dominate situations. He observed, he guided, he encouraged people to look inward and recognize strength they already had. That approach was bold for its time, especially on network television. The show arrived during a period fascinated with lost civilizations and hidden knowledge, but executives expected something faster, louder, and simpler. When the Phoenix chose reflection over spectacle, it lost its support. Only a handful of episodes aired before cancellation. Several were never shown at all. Today, the Phoenix feels oddly relevant. It explored mindfulness, responsibility, and growth long before those ideas entered mainstream conversation. Its failure was not creative. It was timing. Some shows burn out, others simply drift away. The Phoenix belonged to the second category, a quiet idea that waited patiently for an audience not yet ready to listen. Number 11. Manimal, 1983. Manimal should not work. That is part of its charm. Simon McCorkindale played Dr. Jonathan Chase, a refined scholar with the ability to transform into animals to help stop danger and protect others. The concept was bold, strange, and completely serious in execution. The transformation scenes were elaborate and expensive. Each one pushed television effects to their limit. The result was slow pacing, repeated animal choices, and skyrocketing costs. Critics were harsh. Viewers were confused. NBC canceled the show after only 8 episodes, but Manimal gained something rare: loyalty. Fans appreciated its commitment. McCorkindale never played the role for laughs. He treated the concept with dignity, delivering every line with conviction. That sincerity turned a strange idea into something memorable. Manimal also reflected a growing interest in nature and balance between humanity and the world around it. That theme was subtle, but present. Today, with advanced visual effects and audiences more open to unusual premises, Manimal feels like unfinished business. It was not foolish, it was fearless. And sometimes, fearless ideas need time to grow claws. Number 10. Wizards and Warriors, 1983. Before fantasy ruled television schedules, Wizards and Warriors quietly tried to break the wall. This was not a cartoon. It was not a parody. It was a full fantasy series placed directly into prime time, complete with castles, rival princes, and sharp dialogue that understood humor could exist alongside danger. Set in the kingdom of Camarand, the show followed Prince Eric Greystone as he attempted to reclaim his throne from the ruthless Prince Dirk Blackpool. What made the series stand out was tone. It did not take itself too seriously, but it never mocked its own world either. The characters were clever, the villains were theatrical, the heroes were flawed. Julia Duffy's Princess Ariel became the secret weapon. She was sharp, sarcastic, and unwilling to be a passive prize. At a time when fantasy women were often written as decoration, Ariel pushed back, hard. The production values were ambitious for the era. Costumes were detailed, sets were expansive. That ambition came at a price. Episodes were expensive, and networks struggled to market a fantasy series to a mainstream audience still unsure what fantasy television should look like. After only 8 episodes, CBS canceled the show. Looking back, Wizards and Warriors feels like a prototype for everything that followed. It proved fantasy could be witty, character-driven, and accessible. It did not fail creatively. It failed because it arrived before television had learned how to dream that big. Number 9. Galactica, 1980. Galactica. 1980 is one of the strangest second chances television ever attempted. After fan backlash over the cancellation of the original series, executives rushed a continuation into production. What emerged was a show torn between ambition and restriction. The premise was bold. The surviving fleet finally reaches Earth, but humanity is not ready for what follows. Instead of epic space journeys, the story shifted towards secrecy, adaptation, and protection. The tone became smaller. The scale shrank. Network demands complicated everything. Educational elements were added. Episodes softened, budgets dropped, characters vanished. The result was uneven storytelling that frustrated longtime fans. Critics were harsh, viewers drifted away. After 10 episodes, it was over. Yet beneath the confusion were ideas worth exploring. Should advanced societies interfere with developing ones? Is protection the same as control? Can secrecy ever be ethical? The final episode, centered on a lone character's return, briefly recaptured the emotional weight of the original series. It reminded viewers what this universe was capable of when allowed to breathe. Galactica, 1980, stands as a cautionary tale. Not every revival fails because the idea is wrong. Sometimes it fails because fear gets the final edit. Number 8. Misfits of Science, 1985 to 1986. Before teams with abilities became television's favorite formula, Misfits of Science tried it first. The show followed a group of individuals with unusual talents brought together to help others while navigating their own limitations. This was not a power fantasy. Each ability came with cost. One character struggled to control energy. Another faced isolation due to his condition. Their leader had no special ability at all, only empathy and guidance. The show balanced humor and heart with surprising ease. Episodes focused on teamwork, misunderstanding, and acceptance. The characters argued, they failed, they learned. Critics underestimated it. Networks mishandled its schedule. After 16 episodes, NBC pulled the plug. What makes Misfits of Science important now is how clearly it predicted the future of the genre, found families, imperfect heroes, emotional stakes over spectacle. It understood that audiences connect to people, not abilities. In a world filled with polished hero stories, Misfits of Science feels refreshingly human. It was not chasing trends, it was building them quietly. Number 7. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future, 1987 to 1988. Captain Power looked like a children's show. That assumption fooled everyone. Set in a future where humanity struggled to survive under machine control, the series followed a resistance group led by Captain Jonathan Power. What made it shocking was tone. Characters faced real consequences. Loss was permanent. Victory was not guaranteed. The show also experimented with interactive television. Viewers could use special toys to interact with on-screen battles. It was ambitious, risky, and expensive. Parents were divided. Critics were confused. Executives grew nervous. Despite strong concepts and committed storytelling, toy sales underperformed. After one season, the show ended. What remains is a series that trusted young viewers with complex ideas. Loyalty, sacrifice, moral choice. It refused to simplify. Captain Power was not canceled because it lacked vision. It was canceled because it had too much of it. Number 6. The Highwayman, 1987 to 1988. The Highwayman took familiar ideas and pushed them past the edge. A futuristic drifter, a powerful truck, a collapsing world just outside the frame. It was part science fiction, part Western, and completely unapologetic. The title character traveled across a fractured America, stepping into conflicts others avoided. His vehicle was legendary. It transformed. It adapted. It became a symbol of control in a chaotic environment. Episodes leaned into imagination. Stories were strange. Characters were unpredictable. Some plots worked, others wandered. But the show never played it safe. High costs and inconsistent ratings ended the series after 10 episodes. Yet the Highwayman captured something rare: freedom, not comfort, not order, movement. In today's carefully managed television landscape, its refusal to fit a box feels bold. The Highwayman did not ask permission. It just kept driving. Number 5. Probe, 1988. Probe was not loud science fiction. It was confident science fiction. Created with input from Isaac Asimov himself, the series followed Austin James, a brilliant but socially awkward inventor who solved strange mysteries using real science instead of guesswork. This was not magic dressed up as logic. The explanations mattered. Each case began with something that looked impossible: objects moving on their own, people behaving in ways that defied reason. Instead of shortcuts, the show slowed down and let knowledge do the heavy lifting. Physics, chemistry, and biology became tools, not decoration. Parker Stevenson played Austin as calm, distant, and endlessly curious. He was not chasing attention. He was chasing truth. His partner, Mickey Castle, grounded the show emotionally, asking the questions viewers were thinking. Critics praised Probe for respecting its audience. It trusted viewers to keep up. That trust became its problem. When a writer's strike hit, the network chose not to wait. After just 7 episodes, Probe vanished. What makes Probe painful to revisit is how modern it feels. Audiences now celebrate intelligent problem-solving and thoughtful pacing. Probe offered that decades earlier. It was not boring, it was precise. And television was not patient enough to let it grow. Number 4. Automan, 1983 to 1984. Automan was pure ambition colliding with early technology. Inspired by the digital glow of the era, the show imagined a computer program that could step out of the screen and into the real world. The result was a glowing hero, a polygon sidekick, and visuals that pushed television to its breaking point. Desi Arnaz Jr. played the creator, a programmer ignored by his department until his creation changed everything. Chuck Wagner's Automan was confident, calm, and strangely charming for a digital being. The show was expensive, very expensive. Visual effects ate the budget. Episodes aired irregularly. Viewers struggled to understand what they were watching. Yet Automan predicted ideas that now dominate daily life: digital assistants, virtual identities, technology becoming a partner instead of a tool. The science was loose. The vision was not. Automan failed because television could not afford its future yet. Today it feels like an early blueprint for a world we now live in. Number 3. Star Cops, 1987. Star Cops treated space as a workplace, not a fantasy. Set in the near future, the series followed a group of law officers tasked with maintaining order beyond Earth. There were no dramatic shortcuts. Travel took time. Gravity mattered. Communication was delayed. That realism was the point. Instead of epic battles, Star Cops focused on investigation. Who controls space resources? Who enforces rules when corporations dominate? Who protects people when politics interferes? The show asked questions that still have no clear answers. Critics admired its intelligence. Audiences missed it entirely. Poor scheduling buried the series. After 9 episodes, it was gone. Now, as private companies race toward space expansion, Star Cops feels less like fiction and more like preparation. It understood that the future would need rules, not just rockets. Number 2. Otherworld, 1985. Otherworld followed an ordinary family trapped in a strange alternate Earth divided into zones, each operating under different rules. Escape was possible, but never simple. Each episode explored a new version of society. Some zones valued control, others valued youth, some punished difference, others erased choice. The show used science fiction to examine power, fear, and conformity without preaching. It trusted viewers to notice patterns. CBS never trusted the show. Constant schedule changes confused audiences. After 8 episodes, Otherworld disappeared, despite long-term plans already written. Its influence lived on in later series that explored alternate realities, but Otherworld never received credit. Today, its ideas feel sharp: systems, surveillance, social control. The family at the center remains relatable. Otherworld did not lack direction. It lacked protection. Number 1. Max Headroom, 1987 to 1988. Max Headroom was not ahead of its time. It was standing directly in our future, waving with both hands and warning anyone willing to look. Long before digital culture became unavoidable, this series imagined a world where media corporations did not just influence reality, they shaped it completely. News was entertainment. Entertainment was control. Truth was optional. At the center was investigative journalist Edison Carter, a reporter trying to expose corruption inside a system designed to erase it. After a near-fatal accident, a digital copy of his personality was created. That copy became Max Headroom, a stuttering, glitching artificial persona with sharp opinions and zero patience for nonsense. Max was not polite. He interrupted. He mocked. He questioned everything. What made Max Headroom unsettling was how quickly Max escaped the story itself. He appeared outside the show, hosting music segments, interviewing real celebrities, and starring in commercials. The character blurred the line between fiction and reality so effectively that many viewers could not tell where the satire ended. Networks struggled to contain it. The tone was aggressive, the humor uncomfortable, the message impossible to soften. After 14 episodes, the series was quietly shut down. Today, its ideas no longer feel exaggerated. Image outweighs truth. Attention equals power. Media personalities outgrow the platforms that create them. Max Headroom did not fail because it was strange. It failed because it was honest, and honesty made people nervous. The 1980s did not just give us bold science fiction. They gave us warnings, experiments, and ideas television was not ready to protect. These shows did not disappear because they lacked value. They vanished because they challenged comfort. So, which of these lost worlds deserves a second chance? Which one would you bring back unchanged? Share your pick, subscribe for more forgotten stories. And remember, sometimes the future arrives early, then waits patiently to be rediscovered.